I was approached by Walla public library director Beth Hudson for advice on a grant proposal she was contemplating writing. And I was one of a small group of teenagers and adults that gathered to brainstorm a little bit. And as fate would have it, everybody else got super busy or moved away or something like that. And I started being the only one who was showing up at these meetings. Now it happened that she asked me this right at a time that I was becoming really, really concerned and focused about how we teach and the role that technology could play in a classroom. So this process became for me a kind of letter to Santa Claus, listing all of the things that I personally thought should be involved in the teaching process, and ways to keep Media Lab from becoming a room that is always cluttered with a sea of desks with these big honking computers on them and wires you're tripping over. And they're kind of sadly out of date about 8 months into the launch of the program. I just wanted to fight against that a little bit and create a multi-purpose space. So eventually we ended up with a design for this room and a shopping list. And she turned that into a grant proposal, sent it off, and I have to admit that I sort of stopped thinking about it. I don't live in a grant proposal writing life, and so I didn't really know what our chances were. And Beth came back to me a little while later and said, "We got the grant." And I said, "Well, that's awesome, congratulations." And she said, "Well, there's the amount that you saw, and then there's the amount that I actually submitted." And I said, "Oh, lower?" And she said, "No, I added in a little money for someone to help run it. And I was hoping to talk to you about that." And so she didn't know at the time that she was answering a big question of mine, which is, I had such a personal stake in developing what I would call a fairly progressive equipment list with a very particular focus on why certain things were chosen. And so it was very thrilling for me to be asked to continue my involvement. And so I spend a few hours a week helping to develop the programs for CrewSpace and making sure everything runs right and that people are getting what they need.